Reports coming in from some NRM legislators attending the Chankwanzi retreat indicate that some MPs are mooting an idea of scrapping the presidential age limit of 75 from the constitution. The meetings in Chankwanzi have become the venue for die-hard members of the party to make pronouncements that determine the course of events in the country. Last year, Northern Youth MP Evelyn Anite moved a motion for President Museveni to be the sole NRM candidate in 2016. Constitutional Law Don Daniel Ruhweza says the proposal to scrap the presidential age limit is not very surprising given the events that have been happening in the NRM fold.
So you'd expect, as a natural consequence, the age limit will come into play. And if it is coming into play, that means you have to sort it out to ensure that the sole candidate thing happens. And that is what exactly the members of parliament are doing. They are maintaining the status quo.
Ruhweza says while the MPs have the right to make such an amendment, it will ultimately affect the rule of law and the spirit of constitutionalism in the country.
So yes, you're going to change the constitution, make provision for the head of state to stand again. Thank you very much. But has that promoted the spirit of constitutionalism in the country?
Civil society activist and governance expert Irene Ovonje says the suggestion by the NRM lawmakers will have adverse effects on the rule of law in Uganda.
The cost of staying in power keeps on rising. One has to do more and more to retain power, financially and then in other terms.
The political commentators urge the MPs to carry out their legislative function in the best interest of the public.
You should not legislate for an individual. You need to think in the long term, both as a government but also as a parliament.
But what happens to 10 years from now? What if you get a situation whereby the kind of leader you get who is going to be able to stay in power for long periods of time is not the good leader that people are talking about, Museveni?
In 2012, President Museveni appeared on NTV's On the Spot talk show saying that he did not intend to contest for the country's top job after he turned 75.
I know there are some leaders who have been leading even beyond 75. But I think if you want very active leaders, it's good to have the ones below 75.
So are you saying you wouldn't go beyond 75 yourself, sir?
Not at all, certainly not. I wouldn't, because that's in the constitution now, and I would not say lift that. I would not involve myself in wanting to change that.
If this proposal goes through, it will be the second time the lawmakers are using their numbers in parliament to amend a constitutional provision in favor of keeping President Museveni in power. In 2005, NRM MPs voted to remove the presidential term limits that enabled the president to stand for another term in office. According to an online biography, President Museveni will be turning 71 this year, which will make him ineligible to stand in the 2021 polls. Suhail Mugabi, NTV.